Hi, welcome to episode 28 of the Gentle Knitter podcast. My name is Nicole and I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario. Today is June 2nd, it's a Sunday, and I'm so happy to be here with you. It has been a long time since I've recorded and I really miss talking to you. Some of you may have seen a post that I put up on Instagram announcing that I needed to take a bit of a break. I've been dealing with some mental health issues and some that kind of spilled over into some physical health issues. And basically, in a very big nutshell, I have spent my life working through major anxiety problems, OCD and phobia, just a kind of a tangled web of mental health struggles. And when I don't take good care of myself, when I don't get the right amount of rest, when I don't practice mindfulness, when I don't eat well, when I don't exercise, these mental health problems become really amplified. And I have been doing a good job as a sort of in my late 30s to mid 40s to kind of deal with these issues and work towards being in a place of balance. And for whatever reason, it could be partly hormonal because, you know, I'm in my late 40s now, but I had just seen an increase in my anxiety and sort of a decrease in my drive to take good care of myself. So this spring, I went for a long overdue annual checkup, and I found out that I am pre-diabetic. Now, that was a complete shock to me because first of all, I just feel like I'm only 49. How am I falling into this, you know, in my mind, a later in life, lifestyle disease. And, it's just that with anxiety, for me, one of the ways that I sort of avoid my anxious feelings and deal with them is to eat. I love eating. And I have a really strong sweet tooth, so I tend to eat a lot of sugary things, chocolate, candy, that kind of thing. And if I'm not being mindful, I can eat a lot. So I really needed to, in some ways, getting this pre-diabetes wake-up call was what I needed because I had just not been putting in the work of taking good care of myself. So now things are much better. I have been making sure I get a lot of exercise and fresh air. I've started meditating again, and I am now eating what is often called a nutritarian diet, which is basically just a diet that's filled with healthy vegetables, green vegetables, fruit, a lot of berries. I'm eating lots of beans and complex carbohydrates. So basically just eating a whole food diet, vegan diet. And I'm feeling a lot better. I've lost a bit of weight. I'm not losing weight, it's not, the goal is not to lose weight. The goal is to get my blood sugar down. And so I'm doing all of those things, and of course I'm continuing to make things, and in fact focusing a lot on making and creative pursuits, because they really are a wonderful way for me to calm down, to feel energized at the same time, and that's been helping a lot too. So I don't want to go on and on about my health problems and my mental health problems, but I did want to explain a little bit of what was going on, and I didn't want to shy away from what was going on because I know there's a lot of hesitation on my part too to talk about mental health. And I think that the more we get comfortable with this conversation, the more it becomes normalized. And, you know, when something loses its stigma, then it becomes less heavy too for everybody to carry. So I just wanted to put it out there and tell you that if you are having mental health struggles, I really, you know, I empathize with you. I know what it's like. And I also wanted to say a big, big thank you to everybody who sent me lovely messages of care and concern. It really, really touched my heart and made me feel a lot better about what was going on, to know that I had so many people in my corner thinking of me. And I can't tell you how much it meant to me to get so much support. So thank you so much. All right, let's get into some knitting, shall we? It's very bright today. Hopefully things won't be completely washed out, but I have a feeling that I'm not going to be super happy with the color quality of what I'm going to show. First of all, I wanted to tell you that I had been working on a cardigan that I talked about in my last episode. I just started it. It was a sample for Elizabeth Doherty, who's one of my very favorite designers, as well as a really good friend. And she designed a beautiful cardigan that is really perfect for this time of year. So I wanted to tell you about it because I finished the sample and I sent it off to her. But there are photos of it on Instagram, on Ravelry. So let me show you that, and I will talk to you about this really cool design. So the cardigan I knit for Elizabeth is the Farallon cardigan, and it is knit out of, you hold two strands of shibui twig and reed, I believe. One is 100% linen yarn and the other one is a blend of linen, silk, and wool. And so you hold two strands together, and I think it ends up being a DK weight. So you could just choose one strand of DK weight yarn if you wanted to knit it. But what I really like about holding those two specific yarns together is that it created a really drapey and very textural fabric. And you know, it is as any linen yarn, it can be a little hard on the hands, but it's really worth the effort. I mean, it's like this cardigan here, which I've shown to you before. It's knit out of Quince & Co. Sparrow, and it's the Fine Sand pattern by Isabel Kiermaier, I believe. You know, they're a little bit of a slog to knit, but they just yield such a wonderful and wearable and durable garment. I mean, I wear this all the time. I throw it in the wash, throw it in the dryer, and it comes out just beautiful. It just seems to get better with time. And that would definitely be true with the Farallon cardigan if you knit it in the yarn that it calls for. Yeah, I love knitting Elizabeth's designs. They're always so cleverly constructed. There's a lot of short row shaping, there's beautiful braid details, so everything is finished. Just the details are just so, they're simple and not fussy, but very refined. That's really the word I would use to describe Elizabeth's patterns. They're refined and simple and they just flow on your body. So definitely check that out. Check Elizabeth's other patterns out. The Farallon really reminds me a lot of the Woodford's cardigan, which I knit for myself a couple of years ago, and that is also another beautiful design, and I always get tons and tons of compliments when I wear it. So yeah, Elizabeth, you're the best. I'm so lucky to call her my friend. We always go to Rhinebeck together, and yeah, she's just super talented and a really lovely, generous person. So I was very, very happy to knit a sample for her. I don't do a lot of sample knitting anymore, but it's kind of hard for me to say no to Elizabeth. Okay, so that is one finished object that unfortunately I don't have with me, but wanted to talk about. I did knit quite a bit these last couple of months, and so let's go into some of the other finished objects that I have. This little piece here, this very interesting piece, is called the Hat Dana, and it's by Denise Bayron of Bayron Handmaids. You may know her. She has a really wonderful Instagram account. She has some really lovely designs, including a sweater in the new Len magazine, or Lina magazine, which I have here. Another gorgeous issue of the magazine, and I really love the design that Denise put out for this issue of Lina. It's a really sweet cabled pullover, and it's got a retro feel, like it's got that sort of, I don't know, to me it's a little bit of a 60s vibe, a little cropped, almost like Audrey Hepburn. I could see her wearing that as like a little casual outfit, but I think it would be super cute also over a dress. I love sort of how cushy those cables look, and yeah, anyway, it's really sweet. But speaking of cables, Denise designed this gorgeous piece, which is, you might be wondering what it is if you're not familiar with the design. It is a cowl as well as a head covering. So I will show you what it looks like as a cowl. Such a clever, clever design. You get this cute little kind of bandana style cowl that you can wear underneath a coat in the winter, or just, you know, just kind of like this to add a little something to zhuzh up your outfit. But you can also wear it, I'm just gonna put it on the other way, as a head covering. And this is something that I will be wearing definitely when I go skiing, because I'm always looking for something to kind of cover my ears, and I just think it's so cute. I just love how it looks, and it'll just offer a little bit of ventilation out of the back. I often have a ponytail or something, so it won't squish my hair. But I don't know, I just, now my hair is all smooshed, but I just think it's such a sweet, sweet pattern. I knit this out of Handspun. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Yeah, you can somewhat see the colors there. It's a mix of kind of oceany blues and greens, and there's like a little bit of pink in there. Here you can see kind of mauvey pinks. The yarn is, or the fiber I used is from Wellington Fibers. I bought it at Twist several years ago, and ended up with some Handspun, fairly chunky sort of Handspun. I think actually this part of the skein was chunkier than the rest. I actually kind of didn't get rid of it, but I sort of used the more even bits to knit the whole bandana or hat-dana. But this kind of gives you a better color sense for the handspun. The yarn is a mix of wool and mohair by Wellington Fibers, and I really loved spinning it. It's really beautiful fiber, and I love the results. So thank you, Denise, for putting out such a sweet pattern. She has a little video tutorial on how to do the little tassels at the end, and it's a beautifully written pattern, very simple, very easy to follow. So I highly recommend it. It's too warm right now to wear, but I will definitely be enjoying this next winter when I'm out skiing. The next thing I finished are my Pebbles and Pathway socks, and these are designed by Mars of Hey Brownberry podcast. I didn't knit them. I didn't follow the pattern exactly, only because I wasn't paying attention. They are toe-up socks, which I'm not used to. I don't this is only my second pair of toe-up socks. And so you start with just the patterning on the top of the foot and a plain stockinette bottom of the foot, but you're supposed to do this cable and garter on the back of the leg. And once I got going and once I finished the heel, which was a little unfamiliar for me because I was doing it toe up, I just kept going because I was like, whoo, okay, now I know what I'm doing. Well, sort of, because I didn't follow the pattern. But I think, I don't think it really matters. All the nice patterning is on the front of the foot anyway. And these are my P4 Chen knitography sock blockers that I ordered from her. She makes them from birch wood from her farm, and they're beautifully finished. I really love them. But the socks are wonderful. They're a little big. I knit them out of tuku wool. They're sock wool, and it is it's a sport weight yarn, so they are a bit thicker and bigger than my normal socks, but my intention is to wear them inside the house. They're kind of like cozy house socks, and I do have big feet, so they're not that big on me. But I just love the squishiness of the garter front and the really pretty cables. This is a kind of a neutrally beige sandy color from the tuku wool. I don't know the color name, but anyway, I'm super happy with them. I have not worn them yet. I was good, and I waited till I was going to podcast. I finished them several months ago, but yeah, now I'm going to be able to wear them, so I'm pretty excited. So again, my Pebbles and Pathways sock from Mars from the Hey Brownberry podcast. And if you don't know the Hey Brownberry podcast, please go and check her out. She has a really lovely podcast. She is a beautiful knitter. She does natural dyeing, and she is a wonderful storyteller, and I really love watching Mars. So Mars, if you see this, I love you. The next thing I wanted to show you is something that I wore a ton this winter, and it probably should be blocked again. I think the lace has sort of gotten a little, and not in its, most ideal form, but it is the Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry, and it is gigantic. I pretty much lived in this all winter long, just really cocooning myself it was quite a cold and snowy winter, so I just love wearing this with my coat out, a little pop of blue to brighten up the day. But it's really lovely. It's easy to wear. That the shape of it, that elongated shape makes it easy to wear as a scarf, but you can also very easily kind of drape yourself, and because it's really light and cozy. Yeah, I really enjoyed wearing it, and I feel like there's a lot of interesting lines to it because of there's lace bits and mohair bits. It ends up being very textural and just a really lovely piece. It's a great design, easy to knit. The yarn I used was two yarns that are naturally dyed. So the mohair silk thread or yarn is by Bleu Poussière, and I bought that yarn from her last Twist Festival, and it was dyed with indigo. And then the other yarn is also dyed with indigo. It's yarn that I bought from the Fiber Craft Studio. And they're at Rhinebeck every year, and they're always my favorite booth. They always, what they sell basically is naturally dyed yarns and fabrics. And their booth is just aesthetically right up my alley. And so I bought a huge skein. I think it was like 600 meters of, I believe it's Falkland, but just really lovely. Just love the soft blues, kind of the different tonal blues in there. And yeah, this is a great piece, super wearable and super squishy. And I would love to knit another one. I think this is just a really great piece to, like I said, to wear as a scarf or as a shawl or even as a little lap blanket. I traveled and brought it with me, and it was my pillow. But yeah, I highly recommend this one. So works in progress. I've got a couple of things on the needles. One thing I can't show you yet, but we'll talk to you about it next time. I did swatch for something that I'm really excited to cast on. My friend Sarah of Fiber Trek she's knitting a Marie Wallen pattern right now. I believe it's the Lovage. Watch her last episode. She shows it off, and it's going to be gorgeous, just beautiful. But she inspired me to look at Marie Wallen's patterns. I've been a fan of hers for a long time. She used to design for Rowan, and now she does her own publications. And this is a book that I picked up couple of years ago, and I probably talked about it on the podcast. I can't remember now, but there's one design in particular that I'm completely in love with. It's called the Yell cardigan, and it's this piece here. And I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to to join in on the Wallen along and knit this piece. So I did a bit of swatching, and I am not 100% convinced of the results. I'm going to try different color combinations, but I thought I would show you anyway. So this is the main body would be, I do really like the colors I chose for the main body, and I don't know if you can see, the yarn is kind of a mix of browns and blues. Yeah, you can see it a bit better there. It's a tiny bit warmer than that. This is some Rowan Scottish tweed fingering. It's yarn that's been discontinued for a million years, but I have a huge amount of it in my stash. And so that would be like the main body color. And then the kind of contrast, the paler, is some Jameson and Smith I don't know the color number, but it's just a beige, like just a grayish beige. So I have enough to make the top part of the body. As you can see, it's mainly the majority of the sweater is that pattern. But then you have a large color work section, and I started swatching with a certain palette of colors, and I'm not sure I'm going to continue because it's really lovely. I do like the results, but it's a little stark, and I was actually really wanting something that was more all in the blue family. I kind of threw in that golden yellow, and even though I really like the combination of blue and yellow, this is, I sort of want a softer version. Her version is got a lot of different colors, but they are quite soft. So, so I'm going to keep swatching, and when I have, it'll be fun maybe for me to show you the other swatches I do to kind of talk through what the process is. I find with color work, a lot of it is quite intuitive, like when you see the yarns next to each other, you get a certain feeling, but you really need to swatch to sort of to really understand how the pattern comes out. And although this does pop really well, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It just doesn't have the feel that I want. I want it to be more in the blues, like maybe kind of sandy colors, and then oceany blues and that kind of thing. So I'm going to keep swatching, but I thought I would show it to you. I did, so my swatch, I didn't do a full swatch that I would need to basically knit the garment, because I wanted to do it quickly and kind of already get results in terms of the color, how the colors played with each other. But I did do it in the round, so basically, or not in the round, but mimicking in the round swatch. So basically you knit your first row, and then you break the yarn and you slide. You have to use circular needles. You slide your work back to your working needle and start again. So you're basically always knitting. You're never purling. You're never coming back with your yarn. But it means you have to cut your yarn at every row, and that's just so you get a true idea of what your gauge is on when you're working in the round. The cardigan is knit in the round, so as a tube, and then you steek it, so you cut it open once you're done the knitting. So anyway, so there's my little Fair Isle swatch, and I really love knitting Fair Isle, so I'm excited to kind of get another swatch on the go and see if I can get a color combination that is gonna sing for me. I'm hoping to get that done for Rhinebeck, because yes, I am going to Rhinebeck again this year, and looking forward to that, and I hope that I will see a lot of you there. The next thing I'm working on is my pomme de pin cardigan, which has been completely neglected, but you know, I really need to get going because I'm got quite a bit of it done. It's all knit in one piece, and so I almost finished the body. I've got a tiny bit left to do on one of the shoulders, and then I have to pick up and knit the other front, and then the sleeves. And I believe that I am going to do stockinette sleeves. The pattern does call for lace sleeves, but I don't know, that's a lot of lace for me, and I think I would like to just have plain sleeves. So those will go quickly. If I can just kind of get going on this, I would have this beautiful cardigan again for the fall. So the pomme de pin cardigan has a gorgeous kind of leafy lace pattern, and the yarn I'm using is Harrisville tweed in their flywheel. So I think it's a DK weight if I'm not mistaken. And of course I don't know the color name. I'll put it down here. See, nothing has changed. I'm still the same old scatterbrain Nicole. Can you see the colors there? It's kind of blue and green, gray, sorry, with a tiny bit of red, little red flecks, a little bit of kind of purpley tones in there. Super pretty. So I'm continuing on that, not a lot to see there. And then the last thing I'm working on is I'm doing a bit of a spindle spinning and carrying all of that in a gorgeous beaucoup kind of project bag here. I know I show a lot of beaucoup, but I have a lot of beaucoup because it's beautiful, and you know, my friend Aruna is so talented, and so I love to just basically tout her wares whenever I can. The fiber that I'm spinning is from Into the Whirl, and I bought 2 braids of their yarn at Rhinebeck last year. One is, the colorway is called Mud Bogs and Moonshine, and it's Falkland. And then the other one is called Bounty Hunter's Picnic. This one is a combination, I'll pull out the fiber of greens and copper and a bit of gray. And this is got similar greens and browns, but it also has kind of some icy blue and some soft peachy tones. So my intention is to basically spin both of the braids and then ply them together. And so here's some of the fiber that I'm spinning. It's the Mud Bogs and Moonshine colorway, and as you can see, it's really beautiful and rich. And I'm spinning. I really wanted to get back to drop spindling. I hadn't done that in quite a long time, and I feel like you know, in terms of relaxation, spindle spinning is really, I find it very meditative because you're just doing a little bit at a time. It's much slower in pace than wheel spinning, at least for me. So here are some of the results so far. I don't know if my camera's going to get that. No. Come on, camera. Anyway, it's not much to see. It's mostly kind of brownish, coppery colors. Spinning it on my Moosey, which is a spindle by done by Bosworth, and it is my favorite spindle. I use it almost exclusively. I just really like kind of how it handles, and it just has a really nice and long spin. And I am like so not a spinning expert. I get a lot of questions whenever I talk about spinning. I get a lot of questions, and people asking for advice, and you know, I just basically do whatever my fingers want to do, and I don't have a lot here. The colors are better now, I think, yeah, because the sun is behind a cloud. I almost always end up spinning more or less the same thickness. I'm by no means an intentional spinner. I just do it for fun and you know, get the results that I get. But so if you're So I feel bad. If you ask me spinning questions, I don't usually have much of an answer for you, but I still really love spinning, and especially spindle spinning. It's super portable. I've been doing it on my lunch hour, and it's just a really very gentle and lovely pastime. So yeah, so that's it. I'll show you the finished yarn eventually, but that's about it. You know what? I think I'm going to keep it fairly short and simple this time. It's been really wonderful catching up with you, and I've missed talking to you. I hope you're well, and I'm really hoping to talk to you very soon. Bye!